Good morning everybody and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Leah and most of my videos are focused on unsolved crimes and mysteries. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. You know I'm always happy to see you. It took me all day long to get this video started and I didn't succeed actually. So I'm trying again this morning because this case just blows me away. We're going to be talking about a hate crime that involves racism. Today we're going to be talking about Alonzo Brooks. Alonzo went to a party with 3 of his friends, who was white by the way. They went to a town called Lacine, 50 miles away from home. And his friends, they only stayed about 45 minutes to 1 hour at that party and then they left, without Alonzo leaving him there amongst 50 white people, being the only black man in a racist community. Can you believe that? His friends, they left him there with no ride home. And he was never seen alive again. They were all living in Kansas and it's known to have a lot of racism. I know a lot of the local people there, they say that it's not true and it's a lovely place and everybody is so kind. But I've just doing my investigation, I can clearly see that's not true. There is a lot of racism going on there. So if you're ready, let's jump right in. So now I'm gonna get into my opinion about what I think is going on here. And it's all alleged because I could be completely wrong. This is just my personal opinion and I'm gonna go over a lot of questions that I have. I have a lot of unanswered questions in this case. I just like to think outside the box. I like to turn the picture and find completely different theories about what might have occurred in this case, in cases in general. So to start at the beginning, this party allegedly was not planned. It was out of the blue. Alonzo's friends, Daniel, Tyler, and Justin, they have heard of a huge party taking place in a town, a very, very small town, in a town called Lacine. It was a 1 hour drive from Gardner, where they lived. And first of all, I'm thinking, if you're living in a town that's known for racism, and this is not just racism, this is hardcore racism, why would you take your friend who's a black man to a party full of white people from the age 16 to 21 years old? I'm just saying. And I know you can also turn the picture and say, why would Alonzo go to a all-white party knowing about all the racism going on in this town? Maybe he felt he was safe as long as he stayed with his friends. He had 3 friends with him, so he could have felt very safe with them. They also said that Alonzo was a very quiet guy and he was a home person, not really outgoing. He was a bit quiet. But at this party, he was so excited and he was having a blast, according to his friend Justin. And first of all, if you change your character that much at a party, I'm thinking 2 things. In 2004, there was a lot of drugs going around all the small towns. And I'm not going to mention the name of these drugs. I don't want to encourage drugs to anyone. But there was a lot of drugs going around in all the small towns. And you know, some drugs, they make you feel really woo, like party and so excited and so happy. Could they have been doing some drugs in the car on the way there? Because the first thing Alonzo did when they arrived, was to jump out of the car and shout to the people outside the farmhouse, "Does anybody want to be here?" He was in a party mood and so excited to be there. A bit out of his character, according to his friends. And another theory is, it's rumored that Alonzo had a flirt going with a young girl. And he didn't just meet her at this party for the first time. Allegedly, they had been in contact for a while and met up a few times. This girl was at the party, so that could also be the reason that he was really excited to be there, because he was happy to see her and he wanted to spend time with her because he really liked her. But this girl was part of the B family that I'm not going to mention the name of, but I think you know who I'm talking about. She was a member of the B family, and they definitely did not like that she was with a black man. So he could have gotten in trouble because of that. Maybe they already knew that he was going to be there. Maybe they already put a target on his back. We don't know. But I find it very strange that he changes his character because of a party. So I'm thinking, one, either drugs were involved that made him sky high and really happy and excited and wasn't worried about racism at all. Or that girl he was flirting with was there and he was excited to be there because he was going to see her. There was also some arguments and commotion at the party. Alonzo was in the kitchen talking to someone, and his friend, I think it was Daniel, he went there and had a few shots with Alonzo, and he went back inside to mingle with other people and talk to other people. And then he heard an argument starting in the kitchen, and when he turned around, Alonzo was face to face with a guy there, and it looked like they were going to start a huge fight. So he went there, broke them up, and took Alonzo with him to stop whatever was going on. This guy, nobody knows who he is, but could that have been a family member to that young girl that Alonzo was flirting with? Maybe they told him to stay away from her, and he got angry, and they were also calling him a lot of bad racist names. So that really got to Alonzo, obviously. Nobody likes name calling. Everyone knows that when you're drunk and you argue with someone, it doesn't matter if someone breaks it up. In your drunken mind, you don't forget this argument. Actually, the more alcohol you get, the more annoyed and angry you get. So I don't think this guy would just let it go. Alonzo's friends, they stayed at this party about 45 minutes to 1 hour. In the Netflix episode, you hear the friends talking about what happened. And they said they heard about another party. And one by one, the two friends, they went to Alonzo and shook his hand and said, "I'll see you later, we are going." And I'm thinking, if you hear about another party, why are you not asking your friend to come with you? If you're best friends and you're leaving a party, why are you not asking your friend to come with you? To me, that's very strange. If I go to a party with 3 of my girlfriends, if I'm leaving to go to another party that I might think is more exciting than this one, I would do my best to convince my friends to come with me. According to them, they didn't do that. Why? Why not? I find that very strange. They knew Alonzo was the only black man at this white party, and still his 2 friends left to another party and left Alonzo behind. They didn't even ask him if he wanted to come with them to this other party. For me, that's not normal behavior. Don't you want to spend time with your friends? That's why you go out together. And when you go out together, you stay together, you stick together, and you go home together. You don't leave anybody behind, in my opinion. Another thing is that after Daniel and Tyler, they left, there was only Justin and Alonzo left from that circle of friends. And not long after, Justin, he ran out of cigarettes, according to himself. He ran out of cigarettes. I've been trying to live in the middle of nowhere for a while. And if you go somewhere at night, like a party, you make sure you have money, you have a ride home, and you have lots of cigarettes. Because in the country area where I come from in Denmark, after 9 o'clock, if you run out of cigarettes, you're screwed because there's nothing open. So when you get used to living in the country area, you make sure that you don't run out of cigarettes. But Justin says he ran out of cigarettes and he was going to go out to get some. And Alonzo said to him, if you're going for a packet of cigarettes, bring me a packet as well. And he said, okay. And he left Alonzo there by himself. And let me just remind you, he was a black man alone with 50 white people 1 hour away from home in a car, 50 miles. He's the only black man with 50 white people in a racist community. Why didn't he take Alonzo with him? Would you have left your friend there, or would you have said, come on, we have to go get cigarettes because whatever, and we are going to come back after? He left him there. He said he drove down that long driveway to the main road and he took a wrong turn. And after 30 minutes, he realized that he was lost. He couldn't find his way back. So he decided to go home. So you can't find your way back to the party. This is the middle of nowhere. There's no houses there. I don't get it. You can find the house very easy when you go there, but now, just because you came from the other direction, it's a straight road. So if you drive for half an hour and realize you're lost, don't you just have to turn your car around to go back where you came from? And there's not many houses there. This house would have been full of light. There would have been full of people outside, so... But he decided to go home. He had only been for this party for maybe an hour or two. Who drives for 1 hour to get to a party with 3 friends and leaves the party after only 1 or 2 hours? I'm sorry, but to me that it doesn't make sense. This party must have been extremely boring, that you would rather be at home than party with your friends. I'm sorry, to me it seems very strange. Anyway, Justin calls a friend he knows at the party called Adam. He tells him what happened and that he's lost and he decided to go home, and asks him if he can give Alonzo a ride home. And I'm assuming this guy, Adam, he lives in Gardner as well, because if you ask someone to give another person a ride home that you don't really know, it would normally be like a 15-20 minutes in a car. This is a 1 hour drive. So if that guy Adam was going in the opposite direction, I don't think he would have liked that. So I'm assuming he must live in Gardner as well. But this guy Adam, he agreed to give Alonzo a ride home. And that's all you hear about this guy Adam. he's not mentioned anymore on Unsolved Mysteries. And I find that very strange because he's a very, very important person in this case. Because he was the one that was going to give Alonzo a ride home. And Alonzo never made it home. And he said, when asked by the police, he said when it was time to go home, he couldn't find Alonzo. So he assumed that he went with someone else and someone else gave him a ride home. So he just left. I can't believe that. I really can't believe that. So Daniel is gone, Tyler is gone, and now Justin is gone. So Alonzo is left alone in a town with racism, with 50 white people, and he's the only black guy. To me, please don't misunderstand me. I'm just trying to paint a picture here to show you how serious this is. You know how dangerous racism can be. And to me, leaving a black guy alone with 50 white people, flirting with a girl, a white girl, whose brothers or cousins, they definitely don't approve because he's a black guy. That sounds like a pretty dangerous situation to me. To me, it would be the same if you took a white sheep and put in a closed area with 50 wolves, believing it's going to be fine. The sheep is going to be fine. I'm not comparing Alonzo to a sheep. I'm just trying to paint the picture of the danger here and how stupid it is to leave him alone in that environment. How can you do that to your friend? Alonzo had a very best friend called Rodney English. He was not at this party. But him and Alonzo, they actually grew up together and they were inseparable. And they were more like brothers than they were friends. They were very close. He said that Justin has changed his story about that night several times. He told, I didn't see all the reasons, but first he said to someone that his car broke down. He had an accident and he had to fix his car. And by the time he got it fixed, he just decided to go home. But to other people, he said that he got lost and he couldn't find his way back. But the next day, when he had to take Alonzo's friend Rodney and family to the farmhouse, he drove straight there. So how lost could he have been? His childhood friend Rodney asked Justin, you took him to a party in the middle of nowhere in a farmhouse, 1 hour drive away from home, and you left him there. Why? It's not normal. It's not normal. And I'm actually not quite sure if he got an answer. It was not said. But Justin, Rodney, Maria, and some of Alonzo's brothers and sisters, they drove to that farmhouse the next day. They were searching the property and looking inside the windows of this farmhouse. And it was so strange. The house looked completely clean inside. It was almost empty. It didn't look like there had been a party at all, which is a huge, mega huge red flag for me. 50 people at the age 16 to 21 years old, partying all night, playing cards, drinking games. We all know how sky drunk people get when they do drinking games. And when they come in the morning, it looked like there had never been a party there. Someone cleaned up that house completely. Who? How is that possible? Did someone clean up a crime scene? They knew that Alonzo's family and friends, they would probably come back the next day to look for him. So they completely wiped the house down. I can't be sure. I can't be sure. But to me, when a lot of young people, they have a party, that house would look completely trashed the day after. And when the young people wake up and, I don't know, get something to eat and gain some energy, they would go back to that house and start cleaning up. They didn't. Someone cleaned up that house after the party. Who did that? I think that's very, very strange. And it's, like I said, that's a huge red flag for me. His friend Justin, his childhood friend Rodney English, and his mom Maria, and I'm not sure how many other people were there, but they decided to check the fields and walk down that very long driveway to check around the driveway in the woods, the fields, just looking for Alonzo everywhere. And when they came down to the end of the driveway, on the right side, in the field, they found one of his boots. On the other side of the driveway, across the street, they found his skull head and the other boot. So that made all alarm bells go off. What happened here? And just after they found these items, this man approached them on a four-wheeler, telling them they needed to get out of there. Who was this man? Why is it his business that these people is on the property of that farmhouse? If it's not his house, why is it his problem that they are searching around that house? If he's a neighbor, if he's someone who just drove by, if he's a racist, we have no idea. But why is he getting in that business if they are not on his property? Who is this guy on the four-wheeler? And did he have something to do with Alonzo's disappearance? He's not mentioned at all, like Adam. Nobody knows who Adam is. Nobody knows who that man on the four-wheeler is. And when a man on a four-wheeler approached them and tells them, actually almost threatened them, to get out of there, you need to leave. Rodney English, Alonzo's childhood friend, he felt those vibes from that man and he got freaked out and he said, I didn't feel safe at all. I just wanted to get the F out of there. So, the man on the four-wheeler, you need to come forward, whoever you are. Why is it your business what they're doing on the farmhouse property if you have nothing to do with that property? Just asking. Did he clean the farmhouse? Or should I say the crime scene? There's something even more disturbing that I heard about this town. And it's very, very scary and it's extremely disturbing. This town is known to having a motto that says, what the hell does that mean? That's insane. And I had no idea what they were talking about to begin with. But then I saw a lot of people from the city saying that it was a well-known motto in that area. And it means that if you're black, get out of town before sundown or get by the locals in the cover of the night. What the hell are they talking about? I pray to God that's not true. I pray it's not true. How can anyone treat people like this? I don't want to believe it. I really don't want to believe it, that anyone can be that evil. So now I want to talk about the medical examiner, Dr. Eric Mitchell. He didn't explain much about his examination of Alonzo on the episode on Unsolved Mysteries. This medical examiner, did he check Alonzo and his clothes for hair, fibers, DNA? He doesn't say. What about Alonzo's fingernails? He might have been defending himself, so they could do some scrapings under his fingernails for DNA. Did he do that? Did he check anywhere for saliva or blood or anything on his body? It doesn't say. Why doesn't he explain anything about all these things? Did he check his stomach? What was in his stomach? They need to check everything from A to Z in a case like this. Did he check his system for any alcohol or drugs? I would imagine after a month, most of it would be gone. But you need to check anyway, yeah? And his boots were off. Was his boots checked? Did he have soil under his boots? Was there grass under his boots? What did they find on his boots? Was there any blood, any hair? He wasn't wearing his boots. Did he have bruises under his feet? Did he have cuts under his feet? I feel the report from the medical examiner lacks a lot, and I mean a lot, of results. Maybe he did all this and just didn't mention it. It's just weird that he didn't mention any of this at all. I looked into Dr. Mitchell and his career. In 1993, Dr. Eric Mitchell was this close to being fired from his job as a medical examiner in New York, but they made a deal so he would agree to resign instead of being fired. And that was because he was removing organs from the bodies without consent, and he would also be storaging skeletons. Why would he do that? That's just weird. In 2021, Dr. Eric Mitchell misidentified an injury in one of his autopsies, and that was a very important piece of evidence that was used to convict someone of murder. That person has since then been released. In my opinion, I think Dr. Eric Mitchell made a lot of mistakes in his career, and his reputation is not clear as the sky. I've been reading about some people who they don't want to use him as a medical examiner because there's been too many mistakes. And I have to agree with that. He made a lot of mistakes in his career, and I definitely think he should consider to retire. I would think, without being sure at all, I would think that doctors, medical examiners and doctors, they would all know each other or know of each other. And if you consider hiring a medical examiner with a background like that, there must have been rumors circling around him. So why would they hire him? Or was that the reason they hired him? So they could manipulate him to forget something in his reports or his autopsies. This is no proof, no nothing. I'm just thinking outside the box. Personally, I would never hire a medical examiner that wasn't top professional and really, really good at his job, because everything on a body needs to be checked from A to Z, and I need to be able to trust the report 1,000,000% with no doubt in my mind whatsoever. So how can I hire a medical examiner with a dark past, if you can call it that? I would never do that. So I'm thinking, didn't they know about his past? Or did they hire him because they did know about his past and knew that he could forget certain things in his report? We don't know, but I'm just saying. It makes you think and it makes you wonder. But this guy, he got convicted of murder because of a misidentification on an injury in an autopsy. Alonzo's case is the other way around. His body was not checked from A to Z, otherwise he would also have realized that this was a homicide and put that in his report. So in this case, it's the other way around, and the killer or killers, they're on the loose, living their life like nothing happened. And Alonzo's family have been seeking justice in so much pain for more than 20 years. That's not okay. That's not okay at all. I wouldn't trust a word that comes out of that medical examiner's mouth. No way. I read that the locals in Kansas, they get really upset when people talk about their town as being full of racists, because they say it's not true. It's a beautiful place and kind people. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. Maybe all the white people are kind to each other and treat each other with respect. But if you look into prior crime cases and racism and hate crimes in Kansas, there's quite a few. So you can't say that there's no racism in Kansas. I've been looking into prior cases in Kansas that involves racism and hate crimes, and I found a lot. So saying that there's no racism going on and no hate crimes, sorry, or anything like that in their town, that's definitely not true. Normal functional people, they should know better than just hating people and hurting people, calling them names and hurting them physical because of a skin color. You can't be serious. We all have a right to be here if we are white, black, yellow, or whatever color. We are all human. So decide between these two. And let me know again that we are not all the same. We are all the same. We just have different colors. Then I want to talk about the finding of Alonzo, and there's just a few things that I wanted to mention, and I have to say viewers' discretion is advised because this picture can be a bit hard to watch. I'm just trying to make a point here. It's just, I don't know if I'm wrong or what I read was wrong, but to me it doesn't look like he's face down. It looks like his face is up. And the shirt that they said he was wearing, I don't see that shirt at all. I actually only see a blue t-shirt. So was the shirt found next to him or in another area? Because I don't see it on him. And another thing is, when I look at the picture of the shirt he was wearing that night, there's a huge rip in his shirt down the left side of his chest. And on the right side of his sleeve, on the inside of his sleeve, there's a big cut as well. How did that happen? I spoke to Jalal, my partner, about this shirt because the rip that's on the left side of his chest, it's pretty big. And it actually looks like a clean cut, most of it. And on the inside of the right sleeve, there's a big cut as well. How did that happen? How can that happen? Was he running from someone in the middle of the night, and in his panic, he was running across the fields and trying to climb a fence that was like barbed wire, and his clothes got stuck there, but in his panic, he didn't care if he ripped his clothes. He just needed to get out of there. And is that why the ribs in his shirt is in the front area? And we were talking about he could have been in a fight. But like I said to Jalal, if someone grabs your shirt here and pulls it so your shirt would have been really tight, wouldn't the buttons have fallen off the shirt if you get pulled really hard? But if you look at the picture, all the buttons are there. So how did he get those cuts on his shirt? The only thing I can think of is that he was trying to climb a fence or something, like a barbed wire or something, where his clothes got stuck and his clothes got ripped. I'm really sorry, everyone. I have to come with a quick interruption. I'm sitting here at night, right now, editing my video that's ready for release soon. And I was sitting here studying every single inch of the maroon shirt with the buttons that Alonzo was wearing. I was just marking up the 2 ribs that he have in that shirt. I just saw something. If you look from the waist and up to the pocket on his chest, his shirt is dry. But if you look from the pocket on his chest and up, it looks like it's wet and muddy. And now I can't stop thinking about the comment that I saw one of the suspects. It's not an official suspect, it's who I think is a suspect. He made a comment in a conversation where he said that Alonzo couldn't swim. And I'm thinking, is that the reason that his shirt is muddy and wet from his chest up and the shirt is dry from the chest and down? It's just really strange, because if you look at the crime scene photo, it looks like the body is lying on top of branches. His chest is not in water, and you actually don't even see that shirt. You see a blue t-shirt. So if he's lying and being found on branches like a dry area, how long have he been deceased? When I look at the shirt, to me it definitely looks like his upper body has been in the water with mud, but the lower body hasn't. Then I also read some messages online. A person starting with a P from the B family allegedly wrote online in a conversation, like comments, that of course he denied any involvement in Alonzo's murder, but when he's told that someone was arrested and started talking in prison, he claims that this person doesn't know about what happened in this case. And I'm like, really? Do you know what happened? How do you know this person doesn't know what happened? And then he says the mother could not swim. How would he know that if he didn't know Alonzo? And a lot of people shared this conversation, like screenshots. And I actually saw a few places that someone created this conversation. I saw that once in a Facebook group that someone said it was fake and someone created this conversation. But all other comments I've seen, they said that it is a conversation from the P person in the B family that said they couldn't swim. It's shocking to me. It is. It's very shocking to me, and it makes me think that I don't think a group of people, they carried Alonzo's body down there, because there's a lot of bushes and branches and water to get through. And I think they would have fallen down into the water. There's a lot of branches there and it's very slippery. There's muddy, there's everything. And when they emptied Alonzo's pockets, he had money. He had a video card. He had a document on him. And none of it had water damage on it. So Alonzo hadn't been in the water for that long. I've been working for 5 years with water damage in Denmark. And I have seen paper being in water for a long time. I know water damage like the back of my pocket. And this money and this document, it has not been in water for long. There's no damage on that paper at all. To me, it looks like they keep showing, when they show the crime scene, they keep showing pictures next to that bridge. So I'm assuming he was found close to that bridge. So is it possible that they took him there after all the police, KVI and FBI, they left? Is it possible they drove to that bridge and just threw him over the bridge down into the creek, hoping the water in the creek would do the rest? And luckily, he landed on branches. Who knows? We don't know. I am confident that with the DNA technology that we have today, they're gonna find the people responsible for this and they're gonna pay for their crimes. And if like I said before, if I was involved in this in any way, if I did the crime, if I was part of the crime, if I was a witness, anything, I would be feeling the FBI breathing down my neck. So you have to decide for yourself, if you're one of these people, do you really want to take the chance and wait for them to find you? Or do you want to do the noble thing and come forward with the information that you have? Don't you think Alonzo deserves some justice? Don't you think that his family deserves justice after more than 20 years? They are still in pain, and you're sitting right there with the key to solve this crime. The FBI are giving up to $100,000 in a reward for anyone who can give information to solving this case. If you have any information in this case, it doesn't matter if it's big or small. It could be the key to solving this case, and you don't have to come forward with your name and everything. You can do it completely anonymous. We just want this case solved, and we are not going to stop investigating this case. We are not going to stop looking for you until the truth comes out. So the only thing I have left to say is break the circle. If we all just show some respect and some kindness to everybody, it doesn't matter where they're from. We are all human. We all have a right to be here. Please don't be bad to other people and don't show hate to anyone. Just a little bit of respect and a little bit of kindness, it goes a long way. So break the circle, be happy, and be nice to everybody you meet on your way. It's all it takes. So until the next one, take care and stay safe. Bye.